You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Good riddance. Republicans signal they're going to lose House with historic exodus by Travis Gettys. Nearly 36 Republican lawmakers are fleeing the House, the most in almost a century, and Democrats are feeling bullish about their chances of winning back a majority. Representative Darrell Issa, Republican from California, became the 35th Republican to announce they will not seek re-election in November, the most GOP retirements since at least 1930, and already won more than the 34 Republicans who left the House during Donald Trump's first term in 2018, reported Rolling Stone. Republicans know they are going to lose in November, crowed Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee spokesperson Justin Chermol. By retiring now, they are avoiding the inevitable humiliation of losing their seats and gavels, he added. Good riddance. Issa is among several Republicans, including Representative Burgess Owens, Republican from Utah, whose congressional districts were redrawn on less favorable terms in response to Texas officials redrawing their congressional map under pressure from Trump, while Representative Tony Gonzalez, Republican from Texas, gave up his re-election hopes amidst a House Ethics Committee investigation of his alleged sexual harassment of a former staffer who later died by self-immolation. At least 19 of the 35 Republicans leaving Congress are seeking another public office, but some of those campaigns, such as Representative Elise Stefanik's, Republican from New York, bid for governor, have already failed, and at least one Republican will seek re-election without party affiliation. It is no secret I've been frustrated, at times disgusted, by the hyperpartisanship in Congress, posted Representative Kevin Kiley, Republican from California, who announced he's running for re-election, but not as a Republican. In the last year, it's led to the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, a massive increase in healthcare costs, and of course, a pointless redistricting war. Voters' approval of Congress is hovering near record lows, dipping to 14% in November, just 5 points above 2013 all-time low of 9%, and there's evidence that Trump's unpopularity is dragging them down. It also coincides with a rising disapproval rating for Trump himself, hovering around 56%, according to a New York Times average, and little to no indication from the Republican majority that it will seek to act as a check on the president's power, Rolling Stone reported.
Our analysis, the Great GOP Exodus, a sign of the times or political cowardice. In what can only be described as a mass exodus from Congress, nearly 36 Republican lawmakers have decided to throw in the towel, marking the most significant GOP departure from the House in almost a century. This isn't just a statistic, it's a glaring billboard announcing internal turmoil and a lack of faith within the ranks of the Republican Party itself. The numbers don't lie. Representative Darrell Issa's announcement as the 35th Republican not to seek re-election is not just a drop in the bucket. It's a tsunami wave crashing against the GOP's hopes for a stable future. With this number, the pattern of 30 Republicans who left the House during Donald Trump's first term in 2018, one can help. But what's causing this unrest with the AOP flight? The answer, but it seems to be a company that moves without activities and have damningly, the album was edited as Donald deserved unpopularity. The redistricting quagmire. The article highlights the plight of Republicans like Representative Burgess Owens, whose districts have been redrawn on less favorable terms. This redistricting, a normal process often weaponized for political gain, has left some GOP members out in the cold, challenging their re-election prospects. It's a stark reminder of how political maneuvering can backfire, leaving one's own party members as collateral damage. Ethical and legal entanglements. Representative Tony Gonzalez's decision to bow out amid a House Ethics Committee investigation into allegations of sexual harassment adds another layer of disgrace to the GOP's current predicament. This situation is not just about individual moral failings but speaks volumes about the systemic issues within a party that once prided itself on moral and family values. The tragic end of the staffer involved casts a long, dark shadow over Gonzalez's departure, raising questions about accountability and the toxic culture that may permeate political corridors. The Trump factor. Let's not skirt around the elephant in the room. Donald Trump's unpopularity is a significant driver behind the GOP's current state of disarray, with a disapproval rating hovering around 56%, according to a New York Times average, and the Republican majority's refusal to act as a check on his power. It's clear that Trump's legacy continues to haunt the GOP. The party's association with Trump has become a political millstone, dragging down its members and complicating their electoral prospects. A crisis of identity and integrity. Representative Kevin Kiley's decision to seek re-election without the Republican label underscores a deep crisis of identity within the party. His lamentation about the hyperpartisanship and the resultant dysfunction, including the longest government shutdown in U.S. history and skyrocketing healthcare costs, is a damning indictment of the current political climate. Kiley's move signals a desperate attempt to distance oneself from a party perceived as increasingly out of touch with the American people's needs and values. The verdict: the GOP's unprecedented wave of retirements is more than a mere reshuffling of the political deck. It's a telltale sign of a party at war with itself, struggling to define its identity in the post-Trump era. As the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee spokesperson Justin Chermol gleefully points out, these retirements are seen as an attempt to avoid the inevitable humiliation of electoral defeat. While Democrats may indeed be feeling bullish about their chances in the upcoming elections, the deeper story here is the existential crisis facing the Republican Party. Whether this will lead to a moment of introspection and realignment or further descent into chaos remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: the road ahead for the GOP is fraught with challenges, both from within and without. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Raw Story for today's article, with the automated voices of Amy and Ryan. Thanks for listening.